Ultra Ego is by far one of the most popular transformations that Dragon Ball Super has ever seen, well, at least in the manga. Akira, please can you bring back the anime? I am on my hands and knees here. I will literally do anything. I'll rewatch Dragon Ball Evolutions as much times as I need to for you to bring it back. Anything. I will do anything. Anyways, but yeah, Ultra Ego is an extremely powerful technique / transformation that rivals that of Mastered Ultra Instinct. Or at least that's what they want you to think. Alright, if we're being honest, as strong as the form is, to say that it is a 1-for-1 comparison to MUI is a bit of a stretch, at least in my opinion, and anyone who reads the manga knows what I mean. The form just lacks something that MUI has, and that thing is a Hack's ability. Or at least a good one, because it does have one, it's just not very good. You see, MUI has the broken ability to grant instinctive movement to its users, and as long as you're on par with or stronger than your opponent, you can always dodge and attack automatically. Simple but effective. Now if we look at Ultra Ego, its Hack's ability is that the more damage the user takes, the more powerful and bloodlusted they become. On the surface, this is pretty damn strong, as we see Vegeta use this form to overpower Granola for a short time, as well as making Gas shit himself the second Vegeta gathered enough strength to actually pose a threat. However, even with these feats, this form has a glaring issue. As you can see, Ultra Ego has a limit in terms of how much damage the user can take before they're rendered useless. Meaning that the one thing that allows this form to get better is the one thing that's holding it back, and that's taking damage. You see, this form is the perfect example of the phrase high risk, low reward, as it seems as if the amount of damage Vegeta has to take before it actually makes a difference is not good enough, which is why we typically see Vegeta too fatigued to use the power that he acquired, and we get panels like this. And because of this, it's why I and many others can't accept that this is supposed to be Vegeta's way of rivaling Son Goku. So in this video, I plan on exploring what it would take for Ultra Ego to truly contend with Ultra Instinct by answering the question, what if Vegeta mastered Ultra Ego? Alright, so the first thing I want to address is that UE as it is right now could possibly be in its omen state, similar to how Goku tapped in the UI sign back in the TLP, and a few things point to this. You see, UI sign is the unmastered version of MUI that only grants the user the ability to automatically dodge. However, when it came to attacking, that had to be done consciously, which held it back, meaning that this form had all of its stats in defense and it lacked in offense. Now if we look at the current Ultra Ego, it's the opposite, as it seems to only be focused primarily on offense whilst lacking in defense. This could be seen with the power that the form generates, as well as making the user more aggressive. Now that's not to say that Vegeta isn't tanky while in this form, because he definitely is, it's just that his durability doesn't do enough to allow him to take advantage of Ultra Ego's most potent ability. So in short, this current iteration of UE could be seen as the mirror to Goku's UI sign. Both of these forms excel in one area but lack in another, and because of that, those weaknesses can be exploited, which we've seen. So in order for this form to ascend into something worthy of facing off against MUI, it needs something that could make up for that lack of defense. But what could that be? Well, funnily enough, Vegeta already has what he needs to cover his weakness. He's just not using it, or at least not using it correctly. That thing being the Hakai, or more specifically, a Hakai Cloak. Yes, that's right, Toppo's ability to cover himself in a veil of Hakai energy is exactly what Vegeta needs to increase his defensive capabilities. Now the thing that makes this cloak so powerful is that it gives the user two big benefits. The first being that it nullifies powerful ki blasts with ease. This would essentially allow Vegeta to straight up tank ki attacks with little effort. However, something that should be noted is that Vegeta does need to be stronger than or on par with the person who's using the attack in order for this effect to occur. As we've seen, Toppo did get overwhelmed by Vegeta in the TOP, but it's still a good way to face tank ki attacks. The second benefit that it provides is the ability to damage an opponent just by touching them. This is by far the best ability that the cloak provides. Since it is entirely made up of Hakai, anything that the user touches will take damage, and depending on how much energy the user pours into it, the more damage it does, and it could potentially erase someone. Funnily enough, if Vegeta does acquire this, he wouldn't even need to attack, as any opponent that even touches him will take some form of damage. So this would be a great way for Vegeta to simultaneously increase his offensive and defensive capabilities. Moving on, since the Hakai Cloak would drastically increase Vegeta's defenses, I guess the last thing that he could do if he wanted to get stronger when using Ultra Ego would be to infuse every last one of his attacks with Hakai. The Gallic Gun, Big Bang Attack, Final Flash, Final Explosion, and the Gamma Burst Flash would all see massive jumps in power and utility from being imbued with Destruction Ki. Not only that, doing this would essentially give Vegeta an edge in every Ki Blast struggle that he partake in due to the nature of the Hakai, which is to erase things. Now equipped with a Hakai Cloak as well as Hakai infused Ki Blast attacks, how exactly would Vegeta perform if he implemented these during the events of the Granola Saga, and how would he fare against the likes of Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku? Starting off with the Granola saga, after the events of his first battle against the Cerealian, Vegeta struggles to his feet exhausted as Granola begins to charge up a sacrificial attack that would kill both of them. However, instead of accepting his fate, something deep within the prince clawed its way to the surface. His ego. After everything I've been through, the countless battles, the endless bloodshed, and the years I spent becoming the Saiyan I am today, to die like this would be disgraceful. I can't. No, I won't let it end here. If killing this bastard means I live, then so be it. What's one more corpse, Vegeta says, and his ki explodes with tremendous force. Goku and Monaito rush onto the battlefield, yelling at the duo, trying to explain the misunderstanding. However, due to Vegeta's increasing power, neither of the warriors would hear them. Granola watches as Hakai flames engulf the prince once again, but he could tell that this time it was different. The ground beneath the Saiyan began to decay and eventually disintegrate. Granola's eyes would widen as he sees this, and the Cerealian quickly fires off his attack in an attempt to stop him. The piercing blast crashes straight into Vegeta's chest, causing a massive explosion, and the battlefield falls silent. However, this wouldn't last long as Vegeta's laughter boomed through the air. You and I, we're the same, Vegeta says as he emerges from the smoke. Like hell we are, Granola yelled out, and Vegeta begins to approach the Cerealian. Oh, but we are, or at least we were. Two men too consumed by their past to ever truly move forward. One event, one moment in time, held me back, but no more, Vegeta yelled out, and Granola begins to back away as the prince comes closer, and he can see that each step that he took decayed and disintegrated the ground beneath him. Vegeta cracks a smile and he'd rush in with blinding speeds, throwing a powerful attack. Granola quickly reacts and blocks the punch, but he'd get sent flying. The Cerealian catches himself and he'd suddenly feel a burning pain on his forearms. To his surprise, when he looks at his hands, he'd see that his gloves had disintegrated and the skin underneath was suffering from third-degree burns. Vegeta began to chuckle and he gestured towards his chest. Go on, take your best shot, Vegeta says. Granola would immediately fire off precision shots aiming at the prince's vitals. However, the moment they made contact, they disintegrate. The prince rushes in and Granola tries his best to dodge every attack as one blow could do a tremendous amount of damage. However, before Vegeta could land an attack, Goku would instant transmission in front of the Cerealian and he'd block his punch. His arms would immediately feel as if they had been set ablaze as the remnants of the Hakai tried to disintegrate him. He clenches teeth and fights through the pain. I thought I told you I'd handle this, Vegeta blurts out, and Goku finally tells them everything Monaito had told him. And for the most part, everything from this section of the story until Gas rears his ugly head remains the same. However, when he does arrive, Vegeta would face off against him. A fierce battle ensues and Gas immediately takes the Saiyan seriously as when he blocks his first attack, he'd notice the effects of the Hakai trying to eviscerate him. So in retaliation, he began to fight with ki weapons in order to avoid touching the Saiyan. With it, he'd land powerful attacks that dealt a great deal of damage, and he'd continue to rain down blows with more and more power. Due to this, Vegeta's strength and bloodlust began to rise tremendously. And when Gas goes back in for another powerful attack, his weapon would shatter the moment it made contact due to the Hakai slowly eating away at them. And he backs up as he senses Vegeta's ki rising higher. Now then, it's my turn, Vegeta says as he rushes in. In retaliation, Gas creates a ki shield and uses it to the best of his ability to block the prince's attacks. But after a few hits, he'd have to construct another one as they'd all disintegrate after a few blows. Vegeta would continue his relentless barrage, not giving him a chance to breathe, and eventually he'd see an opening. And he'd strike, finally making contact with Gas, and Gas would reel back as the area that Vegeta attacked began to burn. The prince continued with his onslaught, landing ferocious blow after ferocious blow, and Gas's body felt like it had been set ablaze as the Hakai lingered after every attack. This would go on for a few more minutes, but before Vegeta could land a finishing blow, Gas would begin to age and his power began to rise. After this increase in power, Gas would quickly take over the fight. However, this lead wouldn't last long as a fully healed Goku and Granola arrive on the battlefield. You see, thanks to Vegeta holding Gas back, Goku would have enough time to get Granola the senzu bean that Vegeta discarded earlier, as well as heal himself up with the help of Monaito. When they arrive, Goku tells Vegeta to head over to Monaito so that he can heal him up and that they'll take it from here. And as he headed towards Monaito, Gas went in for a killing blow, but it never connects as Inui Goku quickly reacts, catching Gas's attack as Granola aimed his shot right at his face, and the two would take over. As Vegeta got his wounds mended, in that time Goku would tap into TUI, and Gas's strength would increase drastically at the cost of his dwindling lifespan. So when Vegeta finally returns to the battlefield, Gas would have been knocking on death's door due to having to keep up with both TUI Goku and Granola. The moment the prince touches down, he goes straight into Master Ultra Ego and join the fray. He and Goku would fight side by side with Granola taking shots at Gas's vitals. Goku dodges with grace and counterattacks with deadly precision, while Vegeta took the strikes head on, simultaneously damaging Gas while fueling his power, and his counterattacks would land with destructive force. In retaliation, Gas's body would age one last time, he'd take on a far more ghoulish appearance. He was at his limit and he knew that he wasn't long for this world, so in an attempt to kill his foes, Gas charges up a final attack. Goku, Vegeta, and Granola dig deep as they prepare to challenge Gas one last time. For Goku, he charged up an angelic Kamehameha, and Vegeta a Hakai-infused Final Flash. As for Granola, he took aim at Gas's head, charging up a powerful sniper shot, and as soon as Gas launched his attack, Goku and Vegeta unleashed a powerful final Kamehameha. The attacks clashed and a beam struggle would ensue. However, it wouldn't last long as the Hakai began to eat away at Gas's attack and it eventually disintegrates. Their attacks land with tremendous force, causing the entire battlefield to tremble. But even with that massive attack, Gas still stood. His body completely burnt and parts of his body had been eviscerated. He points a finger at his foes, telling him that he was the strongest, laughing as he did so. And Granola finally unleashes his attack, piercing right through Gas's skull, putting an end to this arc and this scenario. As for Frieza, things will pretty much play out the same way due to that man being on a completely different level, and I don't think that Vegeta mastering Ultra Ego would have made a difference. Moving on to the last section of this video, MUI Goku versus this hypothetical MUE Vegeta. Which one would come out on top? Well, at this level of power, I do believe that it can go either way. That is assuming that Goku also perfected MUI so that accuracy isn't a problem. Now the way I can see this fight going down is that it would play out something like this. Vegeta attacks, Goku dodges, Goku counterattacks, Vegeta tanks it to the best of his ability, Goku takes some damage from the Hakai Cloak, and so on and so forth. As this continues, Vegeta would take more and more damage, causing him to get stronger, but he'd obviously get closer to succumbing to his wounds, and as this is happening, Goku would also be taking damage due to him attacking the Hakai Cloak repeatedly, causing him to get weaker. So as the fight progresses, due to Vegeta's increasing power and Goku's weakening body, they'd eventually be able to trade a few blows, and this is where we'd see a more traditional fight rather than dodge tank, you get the point. Anyways, from this point on, it would be a race to see whether Vegeta passes out due to the damage he's been tanking, or Goku losing to Vegeta's increasing strength, as well as the damage he's taken from the Hakai Cloak. Well, there you have it. That's pretty much how the loop would go. Like I said, it's hard to say who would come out on top, but what I do know is that it would definitely be far closer than what current UE Vegeta can do. Anyways, thank you to everyone that watched this video. I hope you have a great day. Peace, deuce.